All right, I'm here with Liv from MondayMuse. Liv, welcome aboard. How are we going today?
Pretty good. Thanks so much for having me.
That's all right. It's nice to be back in the hot seat. I love doing these interviews, and it's a great way to not only I guess get your story out there, but learn something one to one. So it is about you. So I'd love to jump straight into it if that's okay with you.
Yeah, sure.
Cool. Let's maybe start from the top. A little bit of an intro, who you are, any titles you'd like to go by, and what exactly it is that you do, Liv.
Yeah, sure. So my name's Liv Depler-Howe. I'm the founder and creative director of MondayMuse. We're a social media agency. We're based in Sydney. We specialize in social media management, UGC, and content creation. Now, we work a lot with very time-poor founders who either operate in like an elevated or a luxury business. And we really work just to bring their vision to life and let them get back to what they do best, and then we can do what we do best.
Very cool and very well put. And just to help people differentiate between kind of a generic brand versus that elevated brand, do you also help them in maybe helping position from being more generic to elevated at the same time, Liv?
Yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of businesses struggle when they've got a really great product or a really great service and they just don't know how to make that transition or even reach that kind of customer. Because realistically, you are then speaking to a very different target audience. And so we really help just to streamline everything from the product to the actual vision that they've got in mind, and then how we can actually bring that to life online and tell a story that's going to resonate with that audience member who wants to shop luxury or have that elevated experience.
Very cool. Very cool. And it's yeah, a lot of people I think do get caught up on how to change their audience. Like they will have that service but don't have that bridging point. So thank you for that piece. But what inspired you to start on this journey? What inspired you to start the social media agency? Maybe a bit of the background, of course, as well, from where you were to where you are today.
Yeah, so I've been working in marketing for 5 years. I've worked in agencies. I've also interned and worked in-house at luxury brands. And I've also, of course, done the uni thing as well, as we all tend to do. And so over that period, it was so incredible to come across so many amazing brands and businesses with incredible services. But so many founders just felt time poor or let down again and again by not being able to connect their vision with their online presence. And so, they're a business owner, they've got this great business, but someone's like, hey, can I see your Instagram? And all of a sudden they feel almost embarrassed of this thing that they built. And so after just seeing so many businesses really, really struggle to translate that in the online space, I was like, no, that's it. We're going to actually work with people in like a boutique model. So it isn't about having as many customers as possible, but actually really working closely with brands and being on that journey with them, especially if they're time poor. Like it's so hard to have that vision and then just not be able to execute. So I love creating a business where we can just come in and absolutely fix that.
That's cool. And I assume it's not per se a cookie cutter approach. You try and obviously tailor that to each client as well with that.
Yeah, every client is so different. Obviously, they've probably got a service in mind when they start with us, but we do a full strategy breakdown. So we really quickly get to the bottom of where they actually want to go, what their real goals are, just beyond, a vanity metric, but also what do you actually want your business to look like in a couple of years, in 5 years, in 10 years, and then really working backwards and figuring out exactly what they need. And none of our clients have the exact same cookie cutter service. It's purely tailored to what they want. Because at the end of the day, one client might want the same thing as another client, but it might not work for them in the same regard. So I think having that tailored approach is just so crucial, especially in today's social media age where everything is changing all at once.
100%. And obviously there's so many services out there today. Like there's so many. Part of that, I'm sure your point of difference is that tailored service, but what do you think really does help you stand out from the crowd for your specific niche there, Liv?
Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. Social media agencies are hugely saturated. Realistically, there is a very low barrier to entry and everyone's got a phone, everyone's got a social media account. What's stopping them? And what makes us quite different is that obviously we are working with our clients on a very close, tight-knit basis. But the other part of that is actually creating a digital identity that is very unique to them online. Unfortunately, there are a million great products out there, and just having, you know, a good photo isn't going to cut it. It isn't going to make that consumer actually choose you at the end of the day. So they need to believe in your brand story, whether that's a founder story, whether that is a community you've built online, whether that is a legacy. People need to feel like they're a part of something. And so that's really what we hone in and focus on with socials. It's more about that legacy and what people are being a part of versus just, this is a pretty photo, buy our product, please buy our product.
And this might be giving away some of your trade secrets, of course, but is that where you see that direct correlation once they've got the identity that they do get more impressions, more engagement, all the rest of it? Is that the big difference for you?
1,000%. I think it's so easy, especially if it's a business owner who's, say, been running their own socials and trying to keep their head above water and post at midnight and do whatever they have to do. But actually having a strategy that puts all these little pieces into place really does completely transform the analytics of a business and also their sales in the process. And I think that's what a lot of people miss. They think it's as simple as, oh, if I could show up 3 times a day and post consistently, that's what I'm missing. And it's like, no, that's not what you're missing. You're missing a strategy and the brand identity, because that's why people are going to fall in love with your business and come back time and time again.
Yeah, I can't argue with any of that. It hits me personally when you say the whole, if I could just post 3 times a day, it would be so easy. No, really good point as well. And I mean, this might be a bit of a juxtaposition, but how do you find that balance between, I guess, crafting that luxury or the elevated presence and also trying to keep in track with the upcoming trends, the current trends with social media? Because obviously they're changing I'd say weekly, but it's more like every 3 days, 2-3 days they change. How are you finding that balance yourself?
Yeah, so as a social media agency, we are tracking trends multiple times a week. That is a lot of what we do, is just market research, because you're right, like it does change so quickly. I think the biggest thing for us is knowing when one of our clients should hop on a trend and when they shouldn't. I think sometimes brands will see something going viral, or like the Coldplay clip from a few weeks ago, whatever, like people are so quick to think that's viral, so I should participate in that trend instantly, when often it doesn't align. And even if, say, a business did go super viral, the post gets 5 million views from a trend, 99% of that time, it's not actually going to convert into customers or aligned followers at all. So especially if you're a business that wants to be a bit more elevated or have that luxury positioning, you need to ask yourself what you're actually going to get out of participating in a trend. And if it's just the potential of getting more views from anybody who's going to watch, it's probably not quite aligned, and it's probably not the right fit for you.
I love that. And I love that you brought up there was a story you posted, I believe, at the start of last week, maybe the week before, where you started to give a few kind of freebies away to your followers. Is that something, like, are you trying to find trends there that would potentially resonate with variety of brands? Is that your kind of freebie giveaway yourself and part of your strategy, Liv?
I think just because we work with so many different brands, and some of them are a little bit more relaxed and a little bit more fun, and others are just purely highly elevated, speaking to that very particular type of customer. I think it's really fun, I guess, to be able to share with our followers, you know, different trends that we are looking at that otherwise are just probably going to stay in like a secret spreadsheet of ours and never see the sunlight. And yeah, also a lot of the trends that we're sharing are very easy to create. And I think a lot of the times people's hesitancy, maybe if they don't have a social media team yet, or that's not in the budget, or they're just trying to figure it out themselves, is they go like, nah, it's too hard. I can't do it. Like, don't have the time. And these trends we're sharing are literally maybe a minute of your day, maybe. So just keeping it as simple as possible, I think just makes everyone's life a million times easier. And we love to share that kind of thing.
I love that. Well, I'll let you plug again at the end anyway, so everyone can kind of tune in. But I did want to at least include that myself on my own skit, because I was like, I actually found that really helpful, because as you said, if you can get easy content out there to start the ball rolling, my wife's, I guess, you know, I would say similar to your boat, but not really, because she's only posting once a day. I'm sure you're doing a lot more for your clients, but to be able to keep up with that, it's an acquired skill. But once you've learned it, it can really push you a long way. So
Sure.
maybe a quick little crash course on that client experience of yours. Do you have maybe a quick overview of what a typical initial onboarding might look like with a client? I know you mentioned already that you do like to tailor that. Could you just walk through maybe 5-10 steps, however many it is?
Yeah, sure. So every client is different, but often when we're approached by someone who's interested in our services, might be through an email or through an online inquiry form, they'll just let us know, hey, we're interested in X, Y, and Z. It might be social media management, it might be content creation, it might be a combination of different things. And from there, we set up a meeting. I think getting to have that initial consultation really makes a world of difference, because it lets us also dig deeper and not just go, okay, cool, what service are you looking for, but actually understand their goals and what's currently missing from their strategy. So we like to do a little bit of a mini audit for our consultation clients, just so that way we can have something to, you know, provide feedback on and talk about with them. And maybe if they've got some gaps in their current social strategy that they're not aware of, we can really bring these to light and flesh it out. From there, we'll then follow up with a little email, let them know what services we think will actually, you know, push that needle and get them ahead with their business, and break it all down for them in what that includes, what we recommend. They come back to us, they go, great, let's do X, Y, and Z package. And then from there, we'll set up another meeting just to really go over everything. And then from there, I'll do a full strategy. So the strategy is kind of the foundation of our services. I think if you don't have a strategy, what are you doing? It is just so critical to have all of your actions for social media come from a place of intention and knowing that what you're doing is actually going to achieve a goal, and you can have that timeline set out. So they get the strategy, we start working, and then 2 weeks later, they're, you know, relaxing by a beach somewhere or doing some work, and they're doing all their socials.
The old fail to plan, you plan to fail. I love it. It's really strongly important. I think the auditing process is really key. At least anyone knows that if they do reach out to you after this, they're going to get something to take away and at least have something to deal with themselves. So cool. I'll put you on the spot a little bit here again.
That's all right.
Like how, maybe more so the specific client side, is there a specific campaign or collaboration? I know in our pre-screening call you can't quite give away client details per se, but is there a specific campaign or collaboration that, as best you can, that you're particularly proud of, and some details you can share around that as to why you're particularly proud of it?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, we're pretty proud of all of our clients. We do have 100% client retention rate, which I think is extremely rare. So it's great that all of our clients clearly love what we do and trust us and are really happy with results. A specific client that comes to mind is a luxury women's wear client of ours. We've been working together, I think, about 8 months now, and we do social media management and also content creation for them as well. And when we started with them, obviously they have incredible products. They're speaking to a very premium luxury audience. But on social media, the founder just didn't have time to translate that. And it was often kind of this afterthought. And so after we started working together, I introduced something called founder photo shoots, where once a month I dedicate, you know, a whole little shoot purely to founder-led content, because I just thought her messaging and story was so important to her audience, and it was just missing before in her strategy. And so we started doing that, and, you know, 3 months later, they've got, you know, over 500,000 new accounts reached on Instagram, and their website clicks have gone up by over 50%. And it's truly transformed their business. And now they've even got customers coming in, excited for the socials, excited to see what their founder's going to say. And it's just really done so much to bridge that gap between their luxury customer and the founder, who at the end of the day is their core messaging for their brand story.
I think the coolest part about that is that a lot of the elevated or luxury brands, you do have the disconnect to the founder or the people above, like that you have the brand, you have the people over here, and then you have the consumer. And
so impersonal.
It's so impersonal. And I think to be able to bridge that is, yes, it's so elevated. I mean, I'd say in terms of that higher level brand, like you'd almost say how, I mean, this is maybe more of a male perspective on it, but like how F1's managed to kind of rebrand themselves through the TV series, and now like you're highly identified as you are a fan of the person, the driver of the brand, like versus just the brand now. Whereas I feel it used to be you might be a McLaren or a Ferrari person. So that's me trying to, I guess, spin it for anyone at home that might not be as luxury, because I'm definitely not as luxury focused myself. But I think that's where the brands that are able to have a personal approach to it do add some awesome layers. So really good example. The tough side of things, is there any I wouldn't say difficult clients. Has there been any difficult moments with clients, or is there any challenge in particular that you've had to really overcome to get to where you are today, even if it's back to the old, I only say this because I know everyone goes through it, but the whole imposter syndrome when you're setting everything up? Is there anything that really reaches out to you when I mention that word challenge?
Yeah, a few things, to be honest. I think imposter syndrome is very real. I used to kind of not be a non-believer in imposter syndrome, but I didn't quite get it. I was like, no, but if you've got the skills, you've got what it takes, like surely you're going to feel confident in any space. And then I didn't realize that I was really suffering with this, especially even a few months ago, until people in my life started calling me out on it, because they'd mention my business in front of people I'd never met before, or they'd mention a client win or a really exciting campaign I was working on to other people. And my first instinctive reaction was almost to actually shut that conversation down. I felt sheepish. I felt like to talk about my business was bragging, and I just felt uncomfortable. And it was only when people were like, hey, like, what are you doing? We're trying to support you and lift you up, and you're like timid about this thing that you clearly love and work a million hours a day on. That was when I realized, I was like, oh, like, welcome to imposter syndrome. And then from there, I've just been really working, I guess, on my mindset of trying to pivot away from worrying about the future or what if someone thinks X, Y, and Z, and just trusting myself and knowing also my clients trust me. I think that's just like so powerful, and kind of stops me from spiraling, which is nice.
Everyone goes through it. And that's why I bring it up. It's not a unique question to you. So again, if that gives you a bit of extra comfort in knowing so, then perfect, because everyone I've ever interviewed has gone through it at some place. So I guess probably a good bridging question to it. Is there someone you spoke to? Is there like an inspirational figure, a motto, a one-liner that's kind of helped you get through the tougher parts of business in particular?
Yeah. There's a line I've been coming back to a lot recently. It's not going to sound very inspiring, but hear me out. It's supposed to be hard. And I think in a lot of different aspects of my life, not just business, I'd like find myself in the middle of doing a task and I'd be like, oh, this is so hard, I'm going to stop. And it's like rewiring your brain to acknowledge like some things are hard and it's supposed to be hard. And that feeling of like, oh, this is hard probably just means you actually are on the right track. And you're also doing what most people aren't going to do, because most people do stop when it's hard. Most people do stop when it's uncomfortable. And so getting used to that feeling, being able to acknowledge like, oh, this is really hard, but that's kind of the whole point, and that's where the reward sits as well, has just been so life-changing, I guess, for the way that I approach business and then also just my personal life and other goals as well.
I love it. I've heard similar spin-offs that, you know, it wouldn't be worth it if it wasn't hard, all those sorts of similar connotations. But it's so true, because where you are, where that part of you is telling you to stop is where a lot of others do stop. And if you can push through that, that's where that reward is at the end of the day. So, and again, yeah, no one's brought that one up yet. It astonishes me. I think I've had 50 to 70 of these interviews now, and no one has ever said the same one-liner, which is the really cool part across business. Like, someone is going to get their inspiration from some avenue. Like, there is inspiration for everyone out there. You just have to find that one line or one quote that really can drive you through anything. So thank you for sharing a new one, as always. If someone's trying to break into the luxury space, you know, whether it is social media, agency management, whether it's them trying to break in particular, like, what would you tell them? What's the one bit of advice you might give them in today's world?
Find what makes you different and then commit to that thing. I think where a lot of people go wrong, myself included, when I first started my business, is it's so easy to tell yourself you can just do everything and you can be good at everything and you can provide a great variety of things to a client. But at the end of the day, there are so many luxury brands. There are so many social media agencies who like to work in the same spaces with the same kind of clients. And so instead of just being like, oh, I'll do everything, I can offer everything, people don't actually want that. They want someone who does one thing really, really well and has case studies on it, can prove their work. They want that. And whether that's a really nice product or a really nice service, stop overcomplicating it and telling yourself more is better when more is in fact not better. It is just diluting what you could be really, really exceptional at and making yourself just kind of good at everything.
The one bit of advice my own mentor's given me recently sings exactly to that. It's you know, if you can't succinctly give a 20-30 second elevator pitch on what you did or what your point of difference is, like, you've got too much going on. Like, if you can't, if you're stumbling on your own words on what you do, like, you've got way too much. Like, you need to be able to nail 1 to 2 keywords, 2 to 3 different audiences, if at most, and just hone it in. So really good advice to share. So, and very timely, evidently, because I heard the same thing. So thank you for that. Looking ahead now, I know it's hard, and you already shared kind of before the call that you're in sort of a pivot now, to an extent. Like, what's on the horizon for you and the agency? Share as much as you wish, but any trans tech opportunity you're excited about as well with that? Is there anything you've heard on the horizon that's really going to help your specific client base per se?
Yeah, I mean, lots of exciting shoots coming up on the horizon for clients. I wish I could share more about that, but unfortunately I'm not allowed. But in saying that, we do actually have a very new, exciting social media package that's going to be coming next month. So, you know, we've been speaking to all of our lovely clients, figuring out exactly from a brand's perspective what they feel they've missed before with past agencies. And so we've now kind of built out a very unique package that is completely tailored. And so, yeah, there'll be more on that on our socials next month. But I'm really, really excited to share it because I think, especially for really time poor founders, this is going to make a very, very big difference to their lives and the way they approach social media. But yeah.
That's cool. Well, I'm excited to see more. Maybe by the time this is released, that
might be out. Yeah, for sure.
Do a bit of a tandem release moment there. And just for those playing at home that haven't ever engaged an agency as well, is there the ability to get just the strategy from you and they, you know, go and piece together the content themselves, or do you do the content for them? What's the usual relationship there?
Great question. In terms of who does the content, it really just depends. So for some clients, we shoot all the content. For other clients, they shoot all the content. We provide the ideas, we schedule, SEO, post everything, strategy, full whatever. In terms of just pure strategy, so this is actually really interesting. I used to offer pure strategy and I took it out because the biggest frustration is someone who I guess loves what they do is when people can't actually action things. And so they've got the right idea, they know they need a strategy, but they get the strategy and then they don't do anything with it. It kind of circles back to their original issue, which is that they're time poor and feel overwhelmed. And so after offering strategies for quite a while, even pre-MondayMuse, I just kind of got to a point where I felt almost uncomfortable because I just know that our human nature is often to get the strategy and not follow through. And I'd much rather work with people closely who I know could do amazingly well on social media and actually see that come to life versus give them this really high level strategy that would help them if they had the time and effort to execute. But in their position, they're probably not going to have that time. So yeah, I'm still open to doing strategies and saying that, but it's just not an open service anymore where I do turn people away if I think that they won't be able to action it just because it just doesn't really sit right with me. But yeah, very interesting question.
No, I'm glad I asked it. It's been sitting on me since the start. I was like, I probably should clarify because a lot of people wouldn't have actually engaged an agency before. They might have tried it themselves and tried to do their own, but never actually seen the other side. But you know, rings true completely. I understand why you would cut it out. You get clients that they say they want accountability. You give them a strategy, and then there's no action. So it's like, we've all wasted time here. So really well put. Last question there. Where do you see the brand and yourself in 5 years? Like, what's the end goal for MondayMuse? How big do we want to go? I always say shoot for the stars with this because it's going to be pretty cool to look back on 12 months from now, 5 years from now, when you do, and you know, you might be giggling that you said, oh, I want to have 100 clients, and you end up having 2,000. Like, so shoot for the stars. How high do we want to go? Where do we want to go with this, Liv?
Yeah, I mean, my dream is to build a really tight-knit team of maybe 5 to 10 high-level people who work in social media and have the expertise, and then go from there. I think, you know, working in the luxury elevated space is something that is so true to our core and we will always stick to. I don't want to build a huge agency with 1,000,001 clients, because I think that kind of does the clients a really big disservice. And I think working so closely with people and really getting to understand their business and being part of that journey is so true to the MondayMuse brand, that, you know, building a tight-knit team of really, really talented people. We've already expanded our team this year. That would just be an absolute dream for me. And just, yeah, helping more businesses and seeing their success come to life. Like, it's so unbelievably exciting.
Awesome. Well, I'll hold you to that piece. I reckon, I know you've already brought one on. I reckon you'll jump to 5 pretty darn quickly with the trajectory you're on. So I think you've undershot yourself here, but we'll see. I reckon that's a 12-month timeline at this rate. But yeah, your time to plug away. Where can people connect with you, Liv? Where can they connect with MondayMuse? Please feel free to plug any and all.
You can find MondayMuse on Instagram and TikTok at MondayMuse Social. You can check out our website, www.mondaymuse.com.au. If you've got any inquiries or any questions, you're always free to email or message. I'm more than happy to have a chat. But yeah, on our socials, we share tips, advice, and insights into the industry. So even if you're a little bit nosy or just a little bit curious, I highly recommend it, because you'll definitely get a lot of free stuff out of that.
100. I've already testament to that. I've already got freebies out of it. So not that, again, I'm probably one of your terrible clients that doesn't put it to action. But I love the insights you put together there. So thank you for the time. We've really appreciated it and excited to piece this together for you.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.